All right, let's just jump right in. We're going to talk about a bird you probably see every single day, the American robin. They're everywhere, on your lawn, in the trees, but what you might not realize is that they are having these incredibly complex conversations right in front of us, and today we're going to decode that secret language.
I mean, really think about it. You know their song, right? Of course you do. But what if I told you there's this hidden world of meaning packed into those sounds? A whole world of territory fights, predator warnings, and even these, well, intimate whispers that almost all of us completely miss.
You know that classic sound, the one that basically screams spring morning? Well, that's just the public broadcast. It's kind of like the headline news of the Robin world, but there is a much, much deeper and more sophisticated language happening just beneath the surface.
So let's start with what we all know and just start peeling back the layers one by one. First up, we're going to crack the code of that famous caroling song. Okay, so here's the basic structure. It's a series of these really clear whistled phrases. Each one lasts maybe 2 or 3 seconds, and then there's a pause. From March all the way to July, this is the sound of a male robin pretty much shouting from the rooftops. He's setting up his territory, and he's trying to attract a mate. It's basically his personal billboard. But, oh, it gets so much more complex. First off, you've got this idea of an acoustic fingerprint. Get this. Each male robin has a unique vocal signature. It lets all the other robins know exactly who is singing. Then, they mix in these sharp, kind of squeaky notes. They call it the broken glass syllable, just to add their own personal flair. And here's the really crucial part. Repertoire size matters. The more complex and varied a male's song is, the more it signals to the females that he is a high-quality, top-tier catch. Okay, let's shift gears, because a robin's life isn't all just about singing these pleasant songs. They live in a really dangerous world, and to deal with that, they have a very specific high-stakes vocabulary just for threats. And they have two totally distinct alarm calls. It all depends on where the danger is coming from. For a ground threat, so think a cat, a snake, even a person getting too close, a robin lets out this low, repeating tut, or peak sound. It's super easy to locate, and it essentially advertises the predator's position to everyone in the neighborhood. But for a threat from the air, like a hawk, they use a completely different strategy. They let out this thin, super high-pitched seet. Now, this sound is incredibly hard for a hawk to pinpoint, but it travels perfectly between smaller birds. It's like a stealthy warning that tells everyone to freeze and hide right now.
So what happens when the danger gets even more serious? Well, if a predator gets way too close, especially to a nest, the robin hits the panic button. That's the whinny call. It's this rapid, descending sound that just screams, "Get out now," to every bird that can hear it. And if they decide to go on the offensive, you'll hear the yelling drive, a series of loud, harsh, just chaotic calls they make while they are actively mobbing or chasing a predator away. So, we've covered the public broadcasts, the loud alarms, but that is not all. Let's get into the really secret world of robin communication, these subtle, quiet calls they use for more private, day-to-day interactions. Yeah, this is the real insider stuff. Robins have what's called a whisper song. It's a soft, rambling version of their main song, and it's so quiet you have to be right there to hear it. They use it for intimate courtship or in these tense, close-range standoffs with rivals. While they're looking for food, they use a quiet, mumbled cuck just to keep track of each other without drawing a lot of attention. And of course, there are those high-pitched, stuttering begging calls that the little fledglings use to demand food from their parents. These are the real everyday sounds of robin life.
So, now that you know the vocabulary, how can you actually apply it? This next part is all about empowering you to go outside and start listening like you actually know what's going on, like an expert.
First thing you need to understand is the calendar. The robin song absolutely peaks in the spring. But then, come July, something fascinating happens. The great silence. The singing mostly just stops. That's because the robins are molting their feathers and they become really secretive and quiet. Then you'll hear a brief, less intense return of the song in September as they start to reestablish territories for the coming winter. And you know, where a robin lives matters too. Robins in cities have actually adapted their communication. They sing at a higher pitch, and they do that to cut through all that low-frequency rumble of traffic noise. And because of all the artificial lights, they often start their dawn chorus way, way earlier than their cousins out in the country. Okay, this is a crucial skill for any aspiring listener, learning to tell a robin from an imposter. The most common sound-alikes are grosbeaks. People often say their song sounds like a robin who's had singing lessons. It's faster, more continuous, and it doesn't have those distinct start and stop phrases of a real robin. The key is to listen for the pauses. That's your dead giveaway.
All right, here are your actionable steps, your homework, if you will. Start by mastering the two most common sounds, the classic song and that tut alarm call. Then start connecting those sounds to what the bird is actually doing. You hear a tut? Look for a tail flick and maybe a cat nearby. Practice telling them apart from grosbeaks. And hey, don't be afraid to use modern tools. An app like Merlin can be an absolutely incredible teacher to have right in your pocket.
So the next time you step outside, I want you to remember this. Your backyard isn't just some quiet, peaceful space. It is a complex social network, and it is buzzing with information, with warnings, with negotiations. Now that you know a little bit of the language, the only question left is, what will you overhear tomorrow?